What is going down, YouTube? T Greenman in the house. I hope everybody had a wonderful week. And yeah, so I was gonna put this video up last night, but I was having issues with my abscess and draining and all that fun stuff. And then I was gonna upload a video. I actually recorded the video and everything this morning, but it was kind of an ugly video, I guess, because I was kind of projecting out something I see because of my faith, because I have two faiths and things like that. And I was kind of looking at something that I saw from a close person of mine, and it kind of affected me because of how he refers to himself and refers to other people. But it made me really go back to my video I was going to do last night. And I reflected, I did some chanting, and lifted my life condition. And that's kind of what I do, because I don't like to respond to things negatively. I definitely don't like to attack people, even if I don't necessarily agree with the stance they take, because I believe that life speaks for itself. We don't lead by embracing something and then outwardly projecting it outwards. We learn, and let's start from where I'm trying to go, because really this video is about encouragement, and encouragement tied into leading, the true nature of leading, because I think a lot of people don't understand what it really means to be a good leader. So first off, we'll start off with what I think a good leader is and how I believe how this ties into encouragement. But a good leader, first off, doesn't tell his followers what they should do or how they should view things or how to perceive things or whatever, because a good leader knows that the qualities are already in the people that he's leading. They already have all these qualities that even he has. He's just more aware of the qualities he has over them. So a good leader doesn't tell his followers what they should do in their lives. A good leader uses what I like to call encouragement. He encourages them to bring out the qualities in themselves. A good leader actually doesn't even want to be a leader. If you ever look at history, self-proclaimed leaders were kind of the worst ones. Like Hitler was a self-proclaimed leader. Stalin, a self-proclaimed leader. Mao, Genghis Khan, all these conqueror people who stood up and wanted the leadership and took it were actually the most barbaric leaders we've ever had. The best leaders actually didn't want to be a leader to begin with at all. They never wanted to lead. They don't necessarily follow other people, but they move in the direction that they feel is best equipped to create the results that best represent what they believe in. That's what a good leader does. So, that being said, he's not going to correct people. He's not going to tell them how they should be or what they should believe or any of that. He's going to encourage the qualities to come out of them out, and they're going to in turn see, wow, this guy really brings this out of me. And then they're going to start to follow by example, because you're bringing out a better version of themselves. This whole thing of telling people how to be the best versions of themselves, or telling people the right and telling people the wrong, it's actually kind of very psychotic in a lot of ways. And it's what all of these dark authoritarian type people have done. No good leader came into the picture spouting, not even Jesus. Look at the real Jesus. The real Jesus never proclaimed himself as Jesus. Anyone who's actually familiar with the story, he was actually pronounced by his followers after he died. So not even him proclaimed himself. The Buddha never proclaimed himself. They attained it, and people from the outside saw it. This proclamation that humans tend to do, like wanting titles or appearing to be better than what they think they are, it's because on the inside they're very insecure of themselves. So the only way they can lift their security is by putting themselves above other people, rather than putting themselves on the same level, because they can't compete with people on the same level. So their excuses are to proclaim themselves higher and be like, well, I'm not necessarily, I'm here and this, and you know what I mean? It's very lazy. It's very simple. That's why you have to lead by example. Example meaning your life, what you have achieved in your life, not with what you learn. What you learn means nothing. You know what I mean? Unless you actually show it, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a theory. A theory is not something that people should be okay with. Like, oh yeah, it sounds great, so let's do it. No, that's the whole reason we're having the problems that we have in society, because we're sitting back and we're judging how we think society should be, instead of bringing out the nature in other people that makes them feel joy and having them come up with their own ways to heal society. It's like we think humans are stupid, but we don't realize they're as intelligent as we are. Even if we see things on the outside, to think that we know better than they do without actually knowing who they are is extremely ignorant and extremely dangerous to society. It's exactly what Hitler did. Hitler didn't know which Jews he was killing. He just said, you know what, all Jews are dark. Let's murder them. Let's genocide them. Didn't sit down and talk to these people. Didn't sit down and learn through their perceptions. And that's what makes these kinds of things so dangerous. So, people need to be more careful about proclaiming themselves, searching for leadership or being on top. A good leader's not going to search for leadership. He's going to wait for his people to come to him. And he's going to, and even if they come to him, he's not even actually waiting for them to come to him. He's just doing what he thinks is right. And other people tend to come to him. He's actually looking for somebody who's better than him, because a good leader is always going to want to be better than who he already is. A leader who's comfortable being who he is and not extending himself beyond that or growing physically or anything because he judges certain aspects on the outside of his understanding is complete ignorance. And it doesn't have an actual bearing in reality. And that's why the people who do that have nothing to show. They sit there, they're miserable, they're depressed, they don't handle life head on, and they blame everything outside themselves rather than handling things right head on. And then they look at people who handle things head on, who suffer, and say, hey, you suffer because of this. Instead of saying like, well, it's because you actually have more balls inside of you than I do, and actually are willing to take your life head on, than sit around and blaming other people why you don't have what you have. And then thinking you're above them by judging what they do and proclaiming yourself in these certain areas of your life. So I think people in general need to take more responsibility for themselves, grow themselves, stop thinking they're someplace they're not, learn true faith, which is faith outside of yourself and outside of what you know, because that's what true faith is. People who call and claim people on faith is because they're scared to actually put faith outside of themselves. They're actually scared of the universe. And until you can harness that understanding, you'll never have the power of the universe, and you'll never be able to move the universe in your direction. So, with that being said, instead of tell people, encourage people. That's the ultimate key. So, yeah, T Green Man out.